Okay, welcome back. You're watching The Money Show on ET Now. Let's move on now and talk about health insurance. Something different and something new that has been introduced in the world of health insurance has been insurance on EMI, equated installments. Not necessarily monthly, but it could be quarterly, it could be semi-annually as well. That's right, the IRDAI has now allowed for health insurance premiums to be paid in installments. This essentially would help those individuals who may find it a little difficult to shell out that big amount, in one shot, and would prefer breaking up their health insurance premiums across different time periods. So that is something interesting. We will be analyzing how individuals have been making use of this EMI, and also if you've gone to renew your health insurance policy recently, you may have noticed an uptick in your premiums. Now, largely and more commonly, the uptick is under 5%, but there are some cases where the premium amount has increased by as much as 30%. What are these cases? What you should be wary of? Does the regulator allow such hikes in health insurance premiums? We'll be discussing all of that and more with Amit Chhabra of policybazaar.com. Amit, thank you so much for joining us today. And you've compiled this data with respect to health insurance premiums and on EMIs. Let's tackle the premium bit first, because I'm sure many of our viewers, it's something that has piqued their interest. That is, my policy amount as well going to my premium amount for my health insurance policy going to increase. So Amit, what's your data indicating? Is every health insurance policy that's being renewed with a hike in premium?
Sure. See, this premium rise that's happening is basically there for is what happens at the time of renewal of a policy. Now this renewal, this premium rise can happen because of 2-3 reasons, and it's important to understand those reasons, just so that there is no panic being created amongst customers of health insurance. So the first reason is as somebody's age slab changes or age increases, there is a corresponding rise in premium. Now this happens across mostly at intervals of 5 years or so. So whenever let's say I turn 35, there will be an increase in premium. Then when I turn 40, there will be another increase in premiums, and so on and so forth. So that is the biggest reason why premiums typically would rise. That's one. There are some other smaller reasons also. So let's say if I have a kid, and I add my kid into my health insurance policy, then also premiums rise. Now, this is basically happening because a new member is added into the health insurance policy. These are the two biggest reasons why health insurance premiums increase. Now, typically what we have seen is, on an average, premiums would not increase by more than 5 to 10% every year, on an average across all customers. There will be a large chunk of customers who won't see any price increase. There will be a large chunk of customers who will see only a very small increase in premiums, less than 5% or less than 10%. This forms the majority of customers where premium increases happen. Apart from these, there will be some customers who see a large price increase, which is very inorganic in nature. So this happens whenever a company refiles its existing products, or they shut down a product and they migrate the customers to a new product within their portfolio. Whenever that happens, the premiums may increase to a large extent. So like, for example, right now what we are seeing is there's only about a 1% of the total customer base which is seeing a premium increase as high as 50% or more. So it's a very small chunk. It's a very rare scenario that it happens, but it's happening right now because there are a couple of products in the health insurance space which have now been refiled, or they are being moved to a new product. So as that happens, customers move to a new product altogether, and as a result, the premiums increase by a large amount. However, that said, customers need not worry about that, because the reason there was a large hike in price was because probably the outgoing product which a customer already had a far cheaper price than any other product available in the market. So it will never happen that there is one product which is increasing prices so radically that it becomes more expensive than anything else in the market. The reason it can never happen is because the regulator governs the prices very, very closely. So insurance companies can't just decide to increase prices. They just can't do that. The regulator won't allow them. So these price rises happen only after the regulator very, very carefully looks at the reasons why a price rise is happening, and only then they approve of it. So nothing to worry for customers. As I said, a majority of the customers, and in fact most of the customers, are seeing a very little price hike. Their price hike is typically, less than 10%. Very, very few customers are seeing more than a 50% hike. It's less than 1% of the customers. And that is also very, very rare. It does not happen, typically every year. It never happens like that.
Well, Amit, you've answered a couple of my questions actually. Just want to follow up on that bit with respect to the regulator governing any price increases. Is there any guidelines or anything like that with respect to the same, a health insurance holder or a policy holder customer should be aware of?
So there's no standard guideline around that. The reason there is no standard guideline is because price hikes are very rare. So they don't happen every month or every year. That is why there is no standard guideline. Typically, the rule of thumb that there is a product has to be, significantly loss making for the insurance company, or, has to be significantly priced lower than everything else that is available in the market. Only then the price hikes will be allowed by the regulator. So that's why it's very, very rare, and that's why it's taken on a case-to-case basis, and there is never one standard guideline or rule of thumb followed.
Okay. All right. Amit, let's talk about the EMI bit. You've collated some very interesting data on how customers have been opting for EMIs. It looks like largely it's the younger population that's opting for the whole EMI concept. What are you observing? I mean, does it make sense for especially those policyholders who have taken a sum assured of a larger amount? Obviously, their premium will be higher. So, what's the data looking like?
It's actually doing very, very well, right? See, you have to understand there are a few market dynamics in place right now. First, there is an affordability challenge that is, that's very real. That's very real world right now. Businesses are not doing great. There are job cuts happening. There are, salary cuts happening all over. So it's a very real world scenario where customers have an affordability issue. Now, in a very normal world, non-COVID kind of world, probably a lot of these customers would have postponed buying health insurance. They would have said that nothing is going to happen to me in the next 6 months or so. Let me sort my financials and then I will go buy my health insurance policy. However, what's happening right now is there is a definite fear of COVID, and that's been there for the last 6 months now. And people do realize that it's happening to anybody and everybody, right? There is so there is a very clear urgency to buy health insurance as well. That is where the EMI mode actually comes in and gives an option to everybody. Anybody who's suffering from an affordability problem also, it gives them a great option to buy health insurance on EMIs. Now, typically, if you were to get EMIs on your credit card, you had to first of all have an eligible credit card. So you would have to have a credit card which was offering you EMIs. That's one. Second, there would typically be an interest charged by the credit card company. So these were some challenges. And the third challenge was, even if let's say you take a policy on EMIs, that amount of which the loan you've taken from your credit card company, that will be blocked on your credit card for the entire year till you have paid off all the EMIs. So it was a bit cumbersome for customers. I think that's where the regulator has done a great job by they basically motivated all the insurance companies to offer EMI based health insurance policy, where instead of paying the annual premium in one go, you actually pay only the monthly premium. And it's actually a fairly simple process. All you need to do is you need to just, so let's take an example. Let's say your health insurance policy is worth 12,000 rupees. All you need to do is, instead of paying 12,000 in one go, you actually only pay 1,000 rupees. And every month, the rest of the 1,000 rupees will get deducted from your credit card or debit card or net banking account or UPI account. It will automatically get deducted from your account itself. So so one, it's convenient for the customer from an affordability point, because it means that they don't have to pay the entire 12,000 rupees in one shot. Second, it's very convenient also because you don't have to pay every month. All you have to do is put a standing instruction or an e-mandate in place, and after that the deductions will happen automatically every month. So it's almost like, people are now used to Netflix or Amazon Prime or Hotstar kind of subscription. It's exactly like that. You just have to pay the 1,000 rupees every month, and your health insurance policy will keep on getting renewed. So what we have seen is, for the insurers who are offering it on their products, almost 40 to 50% of their business is moving to monthly payment mode. Because for the customers, it's a no-brainer. Ideally, they should, everybody should just buy policies on monthly mode. A parallel world is life insurance, where monthly mode has been there for almost the last 5 years or so. There we see almost 80 to 90% of all the policies being bought are on monthly mode itself. It's just too convenient for the customer, and given the current affordability issue, it makes it even sort of a no-brainer to buy health insurance on monthly mode.
All right. Okay. So Amit, what products are available, for the EMI option? I'm assuming your regular health insurance will be available, but what about things like critical health care, etc.? And I ask this because sometimes critical illness insurance can have a higher amount as well, a higher sum assured as well. So just want to understand, is EMI available across the spectrum of health insurance products? Would it depend company to company? What's the case right now like?
It's mostly available for all, and it's very insurer specific also. So not everybody right now offers, so a lot of companies are in the middle of the technology part of it to make sure that the monthly mode option becomes available to customers. But for the companies which are offering it, they're offering it across all products mostly.
All right. Okay, Amit, we'll let you go on that note. Thank you so much for joining us today on the show and sharing with us some of the very interesting findings, when it comes to EMIs, when it comes to health insurance premium increase as well. And on that note, we'll take a very short break on the show. Don't go anywhere.